Alright, so for our first game of Rapidmon X, we're playing against Terriermon, which is a also completely new deck with new support and everything with the whole SOC type. And this is really exciting. We're going to keep our hand right here. Looks pretty good to start off. We have cards that we can utilize, searching, Digimon in the back, and also the agility training. Also, you guys, if you notice, we got a brand new Cloudy Twins playmat right here. So definitely be sure to get it, your copy on the AVAULT store. We're also running early bird promotions and discounts at the moment. So definitely check out the description box down below and I appreciate the support. But anyways, back to the game. When it comes to this matchup, we're both kind of control heavy. The whole collision mechanic does try to like get rid of our bodies, and we are also trying to slowly get rid of their bodies and control the board as much as we can. So it's kind of like a battle of control. Here with their Ukomon, they're getting a lot of value and they can try to search for as many cards as possible. And we're also trying to search for as many cards as possible here. But we have a little bit of an advantage because we can utilize Armor Purge to help us keep our bodies in the game and sort of like keep it so that the collision isn't as effective as it seems. And we also have a bit of sort of leeway or sort of like methods where we can try to chip away the security bit by bit and establish bigger momentum or faster momentum than they can to take them down before they're able to gather all their pieces. We can see they're cycling and going through and finding the cards that they need fairly quickly with all these cards here, which is really good for them. But we also kind of really good setup at the moment because we're trying to see what we can do in terms of pushing out. We have 2 agility trainings with the Lotmon at the back ready to go, giving itself alliance as well first. But we're going to go agility training to go into Gargomon, and we can even go into Rapidmon. And I felt like, okay, at this turn, we can de-digivolve and actually clear their board. And by clearing their board, they won't be able to get into Terriermon as quickly, and we get to digivolve into Rapid X for 3 costs instead, popping their entire board, suspending down everything. The entire board gets minus 4k, and we gain 2 memory back, and we can go for an extra check right here, which is pretty good for us. And we did find a Kosuke, which means they're going to be setting to 3 memory anyway. So we're going to end the turn by going to Terriermon, trying to utilize as much as we can to search and continue to find our pieces, and then we can build a second stack ready to fight, ready to come out and attack and force them to respond. I kind of wished that we were able to utilize the Rapidmon inheritable there to trash an extra security, which would have been better for us because then, you know, we can deal a bit more damage, or maybe that Kosuke wouldn't have happened in the first place. Either way, they'll continue to come out with Ukomon and continue to find their pieces. And this is where we can sit in a pretty good position because now they're going to be playing this Terriermon, and they do de-digivolve our Rapidmon X here, which is totally okay with our end. The only downside is that the Rapidmon prior, we don't have any tamers to work with, and even without the tamers, we don't get the protection. And having tamers is kind of useful in this deck. So we finally picked up one with Mimi here. We're going to go into the other Rapidmon, and then we're going to try to get rid of that Uko just because we need to slow them down. I don't want them to push out again and continue to find other pieces, but we keep on checking on cards that are going to be very valuable for them. They got double Marvin Jackson. They got a defense training here as well. And they're always going to start at 3. So I'm just trying to contemplate how to sort of play this turn, and I just felt like, okay, maybe I'm just gonna go for this Mimi because I really want to have that 3 memory. The next turn I can potentially push for lethal as well and see how they react. And it seems like they're not coming out with the Terriermon either at the moment, so tells me they may not have the piece. Maybe they're missing a level 4 to go on top of Terriermon, but they do have that Terriermon to work with, so the chances are they can still climb all the way up here with their sort of like main combo line going into Gargomon, Dorgray here, and then Dorgora, and then they end up popping out Mimi anyway. So maybe playing the Mimi wasn't the best choice. They're gonna try to swing on top of us here, or either Rapid. And the reason why I kept 2 Rapids is because I want to make sure I have this chance to go into the MegaGargomon Ace. Now, once again, this is a huge surprise, you know, opponents, you know, without respecting and all that, and we can just go into this and we have a really strong body there because we're suspended and we gain extra 2k from the inheritables. We're basically 14 against their 13, so they wouldn't be able to crash over us. So it kind of unfortunate because if they had the level 4, they would have been able to go on top, but I think they kind of played this and knew this was going to happen, so they went for Vikemon Ace, hard slapping it, de-digivolving us and gaining Ace Overflow. But at this moment, they only have 1 security left, and we pretty much have lethal on board, but Vikemon Ace actually prevents our Terriermon from attacking because it only has 1 source. So we're just trying to think, okay, maybe if we need to play around security or anything like that. Technically, I think we should have swung with the Gargo first, just because there might be potential bomb that at least our Rapidmon can armor purge, but we still got it in the end. Okay, game 2, we're playing up against one of the most hyped decks of the format as well. Imperialmon. So looking at our opening hand, looks pretty okay. I kind of wanted to keep it. I was like, you know what? I can climb up the stack. Although I don't see double typhoon, I don't see agility training. That's okay. I felt like I could find all the rest of my pieces just by digivolving up slowly bit by bit. When it comes to the Imperial matchup, the one thing to understand is that they're piece reliant as well. So they're going to do a lot of searching, setting up, you know, trying to find their tamers and establish as early as possible, which is very similar to what we are trying to do. The only difference is that they have a lot more aggro. And on our side, we have a bit more control than they do. But with the Neo Imperial, they have a lot of like really cool interactions with very cool effects as well that are happening. But anyways, back to our turn as we're playing out, we've managed to find our agility training and our double typhoon off digivolving anyway. So that kind of paid off for us and we can just set up that way and we just kind of sit tight. Meanwhile, it looks like the opponent is trying to continue to search and find their pieces bit by bit. A little bit slow on their end because they really need a tamer. So I think one of the advantages when it comes to like the Rapidmon and Terriermon deck is that we don't really necessarily need tamers as much as you guys saw from the last game as well. Having tamers are nice, but we're not super reliant on it. So here I'm trying to see how I could sort of want to play this out and keep going. I went into Gargomon and decided, you know what, I want to draw a bit more cards with Gummymon possibly, but I just can't because I don't have a tamer. So I'm just going to go ahead and chip away security while I can and try to digivolve as much as possible and pass a little memory as possible to our opponent while we go into this Rapidmon. Again, unfortunately, we don't have a tamer, so we don't really get the protection, but looking at their board state, they're not really able to achieve anything. It's a little slow on their end, which gave us a little bit of time. We maybe got a little bit lucky here, I guess, just because of how slow they are, which gives us a bit more opportunities to sort of build a little bit as well, bit by bit. And we're going to go for the checks continuously with Rapid. I'm just trying to, again, now that we have Henry, we can utilize it to draw cards with Gummymon and Hurlable. What we are giving them a little bit of value because then they're able to play out this Warmon for free from security with the new option and search. And here we just only can pass them back to 3 since they have Davis. They're pretty much set up and ready to go if they have the other combo line of pieces. So here I decided to set up, okay, 2 Rapids on the board. That means I can potentially go into MegaGargo Ace, threaten that, and if they ever get rid of one of them, then we at least have another one to work with. And I also have Lotmon, which can potentially have Alliance to give off at the same time later on. So it looks like they're going to go for the combo here. They're going to go into XV. And I think they're going to try to see how they probably want to get into it. I'm pretty certain by the time now, they are able to access into Terriermon. They do play the new option here to go out into Stingmon. And then they can utilize the end of turn with Wormmon. And they can DNA into Terriermon right here. They get to King 2 memory back and suspend down our board. Now, the only thing I kind of noticed is that I would actually have Digivolved on top of the Vmon instead of using the option. And then go into Terriermon DNA with a bit more sources because that way they would have been able to stun down our Rapidmon as well. And this is going to be pretty crucial. But here, there's one thing I noticed during the gameplay, but that's totally fine because we're going to take advantage of that. And we are going to it gives us an opportunity to get a little bit more aggressive the next turn. And you guys will see as we go later. But here they pass us to 4 with the Davis and Ken. I think they just weren't able to find anything else to sort of go into. But this, again, is going to give us a really good chance to go for a very big power play. Some would argue even greedy, but I just went straight into MegaGargo Ace, suspend both their Digimon down, prevent them from digivolving to play around any Ace cards, because I think our opponent might be thinking of, okay, yeah, maybe they can go into Imperial Ace or something like that. But we're going to attempt to swing, but we can't swing into Terriermon because it doesn't get the lead by battle. So we're going to swing over the Vmon. We're going to Alliance together, which trashes the security, which is a really good hit there, hitting the tamers, and basically double checks with piercing thanks to Terriermon X to go for game. Alright, so for the first game, we're going to be playing against the Birds, Biomon and Phoenixmon. This is going to be a really interesting matchup, but looking at our opening hand, looks pretty good. We got Tamer, we got Searching, we got everything we kind of need, you know, the full package. That's the ideal hand that we always want a mulligan for, so we definitely decide to keep it. But yeah, when it comes to this matchup, the Birds is actually a very interesting deck. A lot of potential and really cool tools and kits when it comes to deletion and having their effects go on and on. Here I realize, you know, like since they utilize a lot of on deletion effects, maybe we want to try to sort of like rush them down as much as we can. This is a type of deck that they really need to rely on having tamers as well. So noticing that they don't have tamers just yet, we should try to attack them as much as we can and try to utilize the board presence as much as we can as well. And maybe at some opportunities, we'll try to control the board. Sometimes in this matchup, you might not want to control the board too much just because they're getting value off on deletion effects anyways. So that's something you have to be very wary of, because if you give them a lot of value, then they might just turn out having, you know, a huge comeback, and they can turn things around and they can just crazily just combo off anyways from there. But anyways, we're just setting up here with Terriermons, one in the back, one in the front, and we're just kind of ready and sort of see how they want to play this out and how they want to continue to go with this here, essentially, because then we're always ready to keep that in check. You know, we're noticing that they go into this Bergermon, and then they're going into the Garudamon here afterwards, passing us the 3 memory, which is a bit for us to work with, which is going to be nice. So here I noticed that they don't have a whole lot of setup going on, because once they get the setup going on, it can be kind of dangerous. So I really want to get rid of this Garudamon if possible. The other thing we have to be very wary about is Garuda Ace, and some of our Digimon have blocker, especially being MegaGargo Ace. They can easily just delete our MegaGargo Ace if we're ever not careful with it. So we're gonna go a little bit slow, and since we took out the Garudamon, we can kind of sit here a little bit and then see how they want to respond, and then slowly build our momentum that way. Having the Willis is just really good, giving us that extra hatch. It's just going to give us a lot of momentum, and then we have another Terriermon at the back ready to go. You know, we have HBD, we have Mimi, you know, we're pretty much set up for the next turn, and back again, they're passing us the 3, building in the back, probably not finding a tamer, which is really crucial, but that makes me think like, okay, I have to be a little bit wary when I'm chipping away security, and I kind of have to calculate a little bit, because if I chip at their security and they find a tamer, that's really all it takes and what it needs for them to sort of pop off and really clap back hard on us as well. So I'm taking it slow. I chip one by one. That's the reason why I didn't want to attack any further, and just give them as little memory as possible to work with. And once again, because they don't have a tamer, they're not going to gain a lot of momentum, they're not going to gain all of that value, so I'm just forcing them to do things as much as they can here, where they can only really be limited to 1 play per turn at this moment. They go into Phoenixmon X, try to swing over Blitz with Rapidmon as well. You guys can see what I mean with the on deletion effects that they get a pop off here, which is really cool. I think here they could have even actually triggered the new Phoenixmon's on deletion effect as well, because a card is removed from our security, but I think they kind of sequenced it without realizing at that moment, and really didn't really think about it there. But they gained a bit of memory here, but that's all totally okay. We go back to 3 of Mimi anyways, and then get to grab stuff back, which is pretty insane. You know, like Phoenixmon X is actually just really good. Nice addition for the deck. But anyways, we're gonna take advantage here, and we're gonna see if we can go for a really big combo play. You know, with the cards in my hand, I realized I think I could probably do something pretty big in this one whole turn, potentially clearing their board. Even if they were to revive anything out, we can clear afterwards as well, and deal a bit of damage and security to really help us secure that win condition. Once again, notice how I'm trying to take this game pace a little bit slowly as well, although I did mention we want to attack them as much as possible, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're controlling the board bit by bit here as well, just because mainly they don't have a tamer just yet. The whole situation will be totally different if they had a tamer. So this is how I'm playing it out, but I'm also just pushing out with Lotmon, utilizing my Mimi, playing as many tamers as I can as well, thanks to Terriermon with reducing costs as well. And then I'm trying to say, okay, I want to get rid of that Garuda X first somehow, and I want to deal with that Phoenix afterwards too. But now by suspending them, I can minus like 5,000 DP to the both of them. I'm gonna go and try to take out that Garuda X, and sure, you know, they get X antibody, they get to return the source and get to put X antibody back up, and they're all the way back at 5 security, which I'm totally fine. But getting rid of that body, because if they get into another Phoenix X next turn or Phoenix, it can be kind of problematic. And we now want to deal with this one, which is also totally okay. We're gonna go into Rapid X, we're gonna basically minus it, swing over it, we get to trash a security, and we also got to pierce on that Garuda X check as well because of the rapid from earlier. And here we get to gain a bit of memory back. No piercing on this Rapid X, they play something back, and I'm just like, okay, this is the clear for us to actually finish this Biomon off. So I'm just gonna go for HPD, and I'm gonna go into this other Rapidmon so they can reduce it by 4k and giving them almost no plays for their next turn. And you know, luckily we didn't check into any tamers, so now we can sit tight here, and our board is just well established, really good, and it's just gonna be so hard to answer us. honestly, at this moment, probably Death X is one of those cards which just completely wipe us out here if they have it, but it doesn't seem like they have, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, that would be a crazy turnover or comeback. So it looks like they're finally able to sort of set up a tamer now at this moment, but it's just really not enough to sort of help them sustain and keep them any longer in the game. With that Biomon sitting there, it really isn't like, yeah, we're just gaining so much momentum. We're just gonna alliance 2 checks and then just finish the game there. So don't forget to get the newest Cloudy Twins merch on the AVAULT store right now. Special thanks to premium and deluxe members for supporting the channel, and as always, you guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. This is AVAULT signing out.